road racing had moved from the streets and they didn't know where to go with it. So they would cone off these airstrips and create racetracks and draw lots and lots of people.
First things first, don't be confident. Be humble always. Because, because it'll come back and bite you right in the backside every time.
I jump this car, launch it down into the valley, and it high centers on the crest of the on-ramp, the hoop of the on-ramp. And all of a sudden I look in my mirror and I see him, the sheriff, and he can't make it either. And he dukes a hazard, jumps it into the same ravine I do, and he punts me.
Roscoe P. Coltrane.
Sends me, and I catch first gear, and I'm gone. And he's stuck.
Welcome to Oil and Whiskey, an Ironclad original. Today's show, we welcome Lyle Brummer and Tom Porter of Speedcore Performance Group, right here in the flesh, in studio. The best ones. If you aren't already following Speedcore, which I'm sure you probably are on Instagram because they do such cool shit, but if you're not, at Speedcore01 on the Instagram. I think they've changed it to the Instagram too, by the way.
Did they?
Mm-hmm. It's on the internet.
I think that just happens as you get older. You place the
Goes from the interweb to
the S on the end too. The Instagrams and
the is getting put in front of a lot of things as 45 came and is going. I've noticed that.
I always try to do away with that.
I don't know
Josh
if I
or
both.
okay.
Well, before we get into it, guys, you brought this amazing carbon fiber miniature coffin. And it's gonna have, we're anxious to see what's inside your aunt. She was small. She was little. Let's crack this thing open, see what's in there.
Open her up.
First of all, it's fucking kick ass.
Yeah, it's probably the coolest. I'm a box guy.
You
we all
are.
know that. I geek out on boxes and packaging.
There you go.
That gets me. So
cool.
We wrapped that up and re-gifted it with a set of Toms in there for fucking Christmas. Oh my goodness. That's a perfect,
that's where we're going today.
I thought shoebox and then I went shoot.
And then we went
low-hanging
Toms.
fruit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay. Could have been Nikes.
Vans. Wouldn't have been as funny though.
Well, let's open this thing up.
Get after it.
It could be a confetti bomb.
Man, look at that confetti bomb. That is cool.
It's look at that. Look at the details.
The Ghost Charger. That's a sexy car, man. That thing is cool.
Thanks.
And a bottle of booze. Man,
All right.
look at that.
Ooh.
Some Wisconsin. Wollersheim Distillery. 2 Mile Wisconsin straight bourbon whiskey. Nice.
We figured you didn't have enough on the shelf. So,
Yeah. No,
we gotta
We
control
were
it.
running
for
low.
more.
I did. I thought Wisconsin was just good for beer and cheese curds, but I guess
Beef sticks in the bottom of the everywhere.
We thought of that, actually.
Some sausage, cheese,
Yeah.
That's the best part about flying out of Milwaukee is you can get beef sticks and cheese curds in the airport.
Yup.
And that's a really cool box.
That's
We're going to have to place this up behind.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, that's going to be a nice addition to the backdrop there. Have you guys ever, since you're with Wisconsin guys, have you ever been to the Petrol in what is it, Sturtevant? Is that how they pronounce it? Just outside of Racine.
Mm-hmm. I've not been
it
there.
is. It's just next level, man. And they've got a whole section of Wisconsin distilled bourbon in there.
Interesting.
We tried a few, but it's great. And Kringles, you guys Kringle guys?
Oh, sure. Of course,
Racine
yeah.
Kringle Company.
Oh, yeah. O&H, actually.
Contrary to what you might believe,
Let's open this
the
up.
Wisconsin truck stop bourbon wasn't as good. I know it's surprising.
I'm more surprised that you tried it, actually.
Or live once.
Yeah, we gotta
Never know what you're going to get.
get adventurous. Are you guys both drinkers?
Oh, yeah.
Rum?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wisconsin, you gotta.
I was going to
Yeah,
say.
I mean, it's
Wisconsin's the what? Brandy old fashioned?
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, sure you want brandy?
Yeah, brandy's big by us.
Absolutely.
Why is that?
The German heritage.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a large German population.
I think the Bar League in Milwaukee is like one of the most powerful. I think Wisconsin, you can drink with your parents if you're over the age of 13. It's
Are you serious?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like a real thing.
Yeah.
More I
And,
hear about this shit. Y'all
at,
gave me such a bad rap from Alabama. I'm telling you what, it's country up here. country.
Yeah.
Yeah, take your kids to bars. It's not a problem.
No.
It's better than letting them go by themselves. They're going to figure it out one way or another.
Right, yeah.
Well, cheers.
Nice.
Cheers.
Yeah,
Appreciate
awesome.
you coming out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is great.
What's
Wisconsin bourbon. I think that is. Oh, that's me. I moved my phone over there, and it's. Well, Jeremy Miranda's calling. Probably had interior questions that are probably pretty important right now.
Could have silenced it.
It is. It's just vibrating.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's kind
You know, it's how
Very
they're little distilleries on the Wisconsin River in a little town called Prairie du Sac, which is like north of Madison. And, you know, we just thought, you know, when I saw 2 Mile, I had to ask the guy, I said, what's this all about? He said, well, any direction you leave the distillery, within 2 miles, there's cornfields. I said, all right. So it's all the ingredients are from right there, you know, so kind of an interesting.
It's got a age statement, 4 years old, 90 proof,
Yep.
locally distilled right there.
Dig it.
I mean, it's their own shit, own juice,
Yep.
grain to glass.
They do wines and other stuff as well. Brandy.
Yep.
That's really good.
That is a great one, man. Good addition.
Yeah. Thank you, fellas.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Well, Lyle and Tom, super excited to have you guys on. We've been big fans of Speedcore, obviously, for quite some time. We don't know you guys personally, so we're going to get to know you. We're going to dig into all the deep, dark secrets.
Absolutely.
Yeah, make it super uncomfortable for everyone.
I think I have to go now.
So let's get started. Since we don't know each other, we always try to start with a little bit of the origin stories. Now we get both of you. We'll tag team this. Whoever wants to go first, you know.
Sure. I certainly can. I've been at Speedcore for 7 years. And prior to that, I worked for a guy in Milwaukee named Colin Comer, owns a shop called Classic Auto.
Okay.
And he's a big Ford guy. Made a living restoring 427 Cobras and GT350s. He's written a lot of books, $1 Million Muscle Car. He's a judge. He's a fantastic driver. And the opportunity at Speedcore came up, and I have a racing background. Okay. Our family for 3 generations has road raced at Road America and in the streets of Elkhart Lake before Road America existed.
That's cool.
And I love the historic cars, but I really like, you know, pro touring and taking something that was, you know, from the 60s and 70s era and modernizing it and making it just that purposeful for the racetrack, you know. We don't call our cars race cars, but
Sure.
effectively you can drive them hard on the racetrack, just like yours,
Yeah.
you know, and that's the key to it. So
Yeah, you drive a golf cart hard. You race anything. You truly race.
We've had some fun with the golf cart at Road
No
America.
disrespect. Yeah.
You could race anything. Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
What did you do at the Classic Car Place?
I ran projects for Colin. He would acquire different stuff. He has all sorts of folks around the country and around the world, really, that are looking for cars and exotic things that are unique. While we were there, we did 2 Broncos. We did the Boss Bronco, that Bunky Knudsen, Carroll Shelby car that kind of went out the back door at Ford when Lee Iacocca came in. Bunky was, let go, and that car, Shelby moved that car out the back door, and it was lost for years, and Colin uncovered it. We brought it back, and sure enough, the transmission, the rear diff, had identifiable numbers, had the right PTO. Everything was the correct for that. We're like, oh my God, this is the Holy Grail car, Yeah. And then we did a Strop Bronco, kind of another really unique, Bronco. I mean, there's many of those, but it was just getting involved with different projects and things that he was collecting and restoring. He had a Lister Jaguar we went through. So the cars were very, very unique. And it was great. And he was very, very, how do I say, he has a photographic memory. So when he is looking at these cars, he does all the research, and they need to be a certain way, period, you know, and that was so heavily involved with that. Again, another small shop, you know, 4 or 5 guys in the shop, you know, at that time. But so, yeah.
So then the opportunity at Speedcore, and you did jump both feet in and said,
absolutely. I saw what Speedcore was doing. I came in, they just finished Tantrum, a 9-liter car, Mercury QC4 motor.
Yep.
We can talk about that stuff too. We all have that kind of in common, right? And I was blown away by it. I'm like, wow, no one's doing that, you know? And Jim made me an offer, and I came over, and right around the same time we had entered into the distributorship of the Mercury SB4 motors. Yep. And, you know, he's like, you can start on a contract, but you got to sell these 10 motors. And I'm like, all right, cool. So that was like, you know, I had to earn my way. We moved those motors, and, you know, the rest is kind of history. Now I run the shop. We have, you know, 8 guys in the shop, and then we have 3 in administrative. But the beauty of what Speedcore is we're part of, you know, 14 other companies. We're part of Casmeric Enterprise. So we have a marketing arm. We have a large metal stamping company. Our parent company is called Capco. It's right across the street. When Lyle designs a frame or that sort of thing, we can export those files right across the street, and they'll produce, you know, laser cut the flat sheet for us and stuff like that.
That's a great resource. We were out there and had the privilege of touring that, and it's like walking into General Motors. That is except cleaner.
Yeah.
It is a very impressive facility.
It's really nice. And, you know, like we say our shop is small, but we have tentacles into different stuff, which really allows us to, you know, develop new technology and utilize it, you know, more so than maybe other shops. I don't know. But
how does that work with do you guys get preferential treatment? Do you get access to everything, or does it kind of work? Like, I know in our shop, like the chassis shop's rocking and rolling, and sometimes when the hot rod shop needs something, it's like, we got chassis to get done, fellas. Like, figure it out, you know?
Yeah.
Does that actually ever stick, or you just plow through that?
It sticks until I catch wind of it, and then I walk over there. I'm like, But I mean, do you get access to all the technology and the resources?
Well, the thing to think about is Capco is a large producer. They are a production facility. So we do have to kind of work into their schedule. We have a dedicated engineer on staff there. That is our liaison to production, to equipment and such.
Okay.
So at that point, I'll go through the process. We submit, we work with schedules, and then see where it's going to come out.
Got it.
But again, they have resources, as you guys saw. So it gives us freedom. At the end of the day, having access to that stuff is freedom. Freedom to be creative, freedom to get stuff done.
Yeah. Yeah.
How'd that transition work for you, coming from super numbers matching, original, make it exactly as the way it left the factory, to make something that never was ever designed in a factory?
That's a heck of a question, because, you know, we were doing, you know, KR 500s for MCACN, you know, and you'd have, you know, a hose clamp that was, you know, at the factory that would come in, and it was supposed to be at, you know, 2:00, and, you know, it was at 12, and, you know, it was the orientation of detail like that.
Yeah, but they also didn't count in the fuckers that didn't do it the right way.
Right.
I told you to put it at 2. How many times have I had to tell you?
Yeah.
Friday car.
Yeah. I think the beauty for me was that even before being at Colin's shop, I worked in manufacturing. I worked for a company in Milwaukee called Hayes Performance Systems, and I was there almost 20 years and worked in the bicycle industry. But the company itself was producing production parts for Harley-Davidson, for Polaris brake systems primarily. But the bicycle division I was involved with, so I understood Asian manufacturing, domestic manufacturing. So coming to Speedcore and having the Capco arm and being able to utilize that was like perfect. You know, I was like, this is ideal.
Yeah.
I understood the meticulous nature of the builds that Colin was trying to get to and would, you know, and was very successful. But in pro touring, you know, we working with Lyle and with our fab team and the finishers that we have, you know, Bill and Casper and, you know, our paint department. I mean, the guys, they want to build the highest quality car they possibly can. And so if we can provide them the resource behind in design and development and utilize these big resources and bring those in so that we can integrate a fair amount of efficiency, you know, a fair amount. Too much, and I'm gonna lose some of my quality. It's always a concern, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, truthfully, the guys want to build muscle cars. They don't want to build a lot of them. They want to build, you know, high quality individual pieces of art.
Sure.
You know? And so trying to create that balance is what we're always striking. So,
What about you? Where'd you get your start?
Yeah. So my background, you guys alluded to it earlier. It was kind of funny when I grew up as a kid wanting to ride, drive, and do whatever I could on any vehicle.
Yep.
So that interest was from when I was born. So if it's not stealing mom's car to go drive in our back 40, that was.
Well, wait, we got. Let's save that for the questions.
Well, it's fostering the interest, you know, from the beginning. I have a twin brother, and we were hooligans. I'll be frank, you know. So any opportunity we could, we did. So, but that started the fascination with anything with motors, wheels.
Where'd you grow up?
In Wisconsin, yeah, about an hour from where our shop is. So yeah, just having that fascination, then drawing and going into that. Career wise, before I was at Speedcore, I was doing a lot of product development, a lot of background in modeling, surface modeling, things of that sort. And then I've been with the group of people that were pre-Speedcore.
Okay.
So when Jim came on board and we formed Speedcore at that point, I had already been integrated within the company at that point. So we've been going ever since. So my role revolves around the design components. If it's right down to the modeling, right down to color selection, that's what we do as a group. But that's my primary responsibility.
Sweet.
So when I talk to people, you know, that's what I like to talk about, the actual down and dirty creative side of things.
Nice. I know you guys in the past work with Sean Smith a decent amount. How does that dynamic work? I mean, are you the guy that's taken like some of the concepts that he provides and then you're translating them and turning them into surface models, or are you like clean slating it? And
no, you're spot on. So working with the renderings, you know, renderings are great, but at the end of the day, they have to become real. They have to be manufacturable.
Where did those three lines converge? Because you just kind of blurred that out. That's what you just see.
It is. That's the magic.
I've zoomed in, and it just seems like they disappear.
Yeah, no, it's kind of true because you're interpreting.
Yep.
You know, you have conversation going into a project. What are the visions? Working with the client on a project, and then concepts. Then it goes to the real bits and pieces. And those real bits and pieces oftentimes are the things you don't see. You know, look behind a dashboard on a car. There's a lot going on back there.
Yeah.
And with cars, the projects that we do, you're not buying it off the shelf. You're modeling and designing. Ducts. Whoever thought about a heater duct on a car or defroster?
Sure.
Guess what? We have to. we design it and typically now 3D print it. And so that gives us that background stuff, which is a lot more than what you see up front for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that on all the stuff you do. I mean, it definitely stands out. Like engine-based stuff probably is the thing that captures me the most when I look at it, and just seeing like the way everything blends. You've got a carbon core support cover, and it's not just a cover. It's like it rolls in and it ties into the inner fenders, which tie into the firewall, which ties into the cowl top. And it, to me, that's really, really bitchin'. I'm like, it just captured me and sucks me right in. That, I mean, hats off to you guys. I think it's something a lot of people don't do. And I think it's largely because of the way you approach it. I'd imagine that there's a lot of design and engineering and a huge emphasis, I presume, put on that.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair point. You know, of course, any project, as you know, you look at it as a whole, but then those details, little details like that, and you know, working with the people on the floor is a real important part of that, because you know, we can make it look pretty all day on the computer and stuff, but you have to have that interaction with people who actually have to put it together. And so that conversation that takes place before we even go into tooling is an important one to get that integration, like how it fits against firewall or up against how it integrates with the lip on the fenders.
Sure.
Those are all things that we have to take into consideration, because once you commit to tooling, in the case of carbon fiber, you're not going to change much afterwards. So you have to plan accordingly.
Expanding on that a bit, when you're talking about the guys on the floor, you mentioned, you know, you're dealing with artisans, you're dealing with craftsmen. You know, they want to build the highest quality car. They don't want to build a lot of them. They want to do each one as an art piece. We've all been around this for a long enough time. We all know everybody's got their their own idiosyncrasies, and you know, I'm going to do it this way, and all that's great. I get it. I'm not talking down about that whatsoever, but it's funny. It's human nature, but it's funny how you'll have I'm going to build this by hand. Mm-hmm. I don't need any computers. And then the same guy could also say, hey, I need to cut this square 12 by 12. Can you
draw it up
and have a laser cut?
Perfect example.
And
that's an interesting point you're touching on.
And I'm wondering on your guys, have you seen a transition, or, you know, touch on that fight, you know, because we deal with all different size shops as customers and guests on this podcast. You've got guys that don't have access to that equipment, right? And, you know, say what they want to about that. And then you've got guys that do have access to it. And, you know, we're kind of in the middle. You see, there's a place for all this stuff. So nobody's right, nobody's wrong. It's just when you're dealing with humans, you know, it's always funny to me of the guy that's like, you know, the computer can't shape that thing on the Yoder. It takes me.
It can.
And then, but the same guy's like, you know, 3 half-inch holes just spaced out evenly. Can you handle that?
Yeah. Well, and I think part of what you're speaking to is generational.
Uh-huh.
There's, you know, because we have some old timers who are you know, it took a while to develop trust in what we're doing, and trust that they're going to get the result that they're looking for. So once that trust is established, then that melding takes place. Oh, I can probably have this guy crank it out in minutes versus a couple hours.
Yeah.
So that breeds some efficiencies that we speak to. And we have, you know, plasma or lasers, whatever, that, you know, hey, can you run me 20 tabs and I need it to be this, this, and this. 5 minutes later, they're up and cut. So that really helps, where previously without those capabilities or even that acceptance to be able to go that route is a big part of that.
It's funny on the generational thing too, because we see it on the customer side. You see it at shows. You see it when you're talking to other shops and their customers. You have generally speaking, you have a younger customer that is a little more hungry for the nostalgic, and you know, wanting to do, whether it be a survivor car or wanting to retell a story in history of you know, this car could have been this way, and let's make the motor look like this and hide all the modern, and let's do a wheel that's like this. Years ago, 20 years ago, when we were, you know, selling customers on stuff, it was I don't know, if I can't tune it with a screwdriver, I want a carburetor, I don't want those low profile tires. But that same customer, that same guy's gotten older, and now he's the one that you're like, hey, let's make it look like a 409. Let's do these wheels. And he's like, I want 21s on it. You know, I want those low profile, and I want billet valve covers. What else we can do billet? I want pro touring. And it's crazy. The change is always a little different than what you want to do, you know, and you're kind of well, shit, the young guys want to do the old shit, and
the young guys think the old stuff's cool. The old guys think the young stuff's cool.
And it's well, fuck, where were you 20 years ago? I was telling you the LS was the way to go.
Kind of flip flop.
It's wild.
What do you think what's the type of customer that you attract with? Because you guys have a very unique build style. I mean, it's very high tech. It's very high end. Is there a particular type of customers? Josh is talking about these young guys, these old guys.
Yeah, I mean, we, you know, if you follow Speedcore, we've had our fair share of A-list type of clients, helped help promote the brand, put the cars in spaces that we could only dream about probably. But a lot of the other clients, they build multiple cars with us.
Yep.
You know, like they've had this build experience and they're like, I'm getting back in line. That was kick ass.
Sure.
I want to do that again. Most recently, we are seeing interest from Europe because American muscle, American pro touring cars are now considered on the same level as many of the European sports cars, the GT3 Porsches and stuff like that. People talk about the cars in the same conversation. You know, the Goodwood going up the hill, those types of energies and that type of client base. They want American muscle in their collection, and they're willing to work with a US company and build these cars. So that's pretty unique. I think, even before I was with the group, that we had interest from the Middle East. There was people that were interested in the cars, and
Sure.
I was never involved with any of those types of builds. But right now, the age varies. The age totally varies.
Those emails.
They're faxes, and it was a prince of Nigeria.
This is what
Wire scheme.
I am Prince. Send me quote on car.
We've got your grandson. I don't have grandson.
Don't share my browser history. It's going the other way. That's sending that one. My bad.
No, you were talking before a little bit about, the engine bay panels.
Yeah.
Just as an example, like the form and fitment. What we still strive to is make the car accessible. Everything we do, we're not building it so that it's a finished product, but if you have to take a panel out of the car, you should be able to do that and do it so that you can, you're not tearing something out. The disassemblies is important now to us as being able, the serviceability aspect of it.
Sure.
We make custom headers, we do all that stuff just like, majority of the shops do, but you have to be able to access the bottom of the motor, the side, and the dash is the same way. The way that we approach all of it is, with our guys on the floor, the seniors are the guys that have the 50 years of experience, right? They can make it all without any computer whatsoever. They've hand shaped everything. Yep. They've been able to do it. They are the mentors to this next generation. I mean, we got 3 super talented guys. They come through Wyotech. They've been at other shops. We bring them in, and they are the next generation. And we talk to them that way. Yep. Like, you guys are the face of Speedcore. You need to, respect and understand the elders, kind of, Right. It's sort of like the little Speedcore native tribe, Yep. Learn from these guys because they're not going to be around forever. And conversely, the seniors have to understand what the youth knows. And it's a trust issue. And
it's
just
everything, right?
It
He
is.
knows everything.
It is. It's what we do, right? Admin all day. It's foster that facilitate those relationships and make sure that the herd is good.
Sure.
So
yeah, it's important to get them to blend, because I find in years past, a lot of times, like the old timer mentality, like the old timer was the guy that would mount the American Auto Wire fuse panel behind the vintage airbox and say, this fucking flat firewall, that's where I'm mounting it. Like, well, the customer, God forbid a fuse blows if he's got to get to it. It's a hot rod.
Right.
Yeah. That took a little bit of coaching.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to coach through that. Where the nice thing with some of the younger guys is they don't know any different. So it's very easy to say, hey, you're building this for a 65-year-old guy. If that power window fuse goes out, he doesn't want to,
He's not going to fit underneath the steering column.
Right.
Trying to go there and hold the cell phone in his mouth.
On the stylistic aspect, I wanted to ask you, you guys have done, you guys kind of have a recipe, right? You've deviated from that on some stuff, but your standards, although they're not standard, but you kind of follow a recipe, and you've got a look, right? You got a motor choice. You've got, generally the same, type of car. Is that by choice, or have you found yourself by the fans wanting another version of that? I can't. There's something about it when you're an actor and you do a role for so long, you've kind of
Typecast into it.
Yeah, typecast. Exactly what I was trying to think. Like they want to see that actor do that thing. You know, they want to see Dwight from The Office. He's not going to be in any other role. What is that?
Yeah, there's a little bit of that for sure. You know, people see a product that you've done and they really like that. So then we have a range of flexibility that we can work with, but they still were really attracted to that. So we can deviate from that path a little bit, but we kind of stick with that. You know, Ghost, the latest car, is a really good example of that. That client had seen Evolution, a build that we had done a number of years ago. It's like, I really like that car. Okay, great. But, so that's where the but comes into play. Yep. What would you like to do? I mean, these projects are client driven. Let's be frank here. So what do you want to see and how can we work with it? So from a technical standpoint, that's a 3rd generation frame that we did. Yep. You know, so everything underneath again. Revision to center console, what we're doing behind the dash. You know, you alluded to, oh, where do you put all those electronics? Sure. You know, great. We've got a, you know, false kick panel in there that we hide stuff under, but it's still accessible. You know, right down to audio gear, right down to shifters. So there's all these little factors that you want to be able to look to and have that client understand that, yes, overall, if you were to take a glance at this car, the shape, the form is very similar. But for example, the grille, if you look at the grille, a billet piece for sure, but it's completely different. Yep. Again, to accent what the client was looking for and what we get to express ourselves with on a project. How
do the guys in the shop feel about that?
Everybody's good because, again, we're a small shop. We have conversations around things. And, hey, it's right down to, I'll print something out. What do you guys think? Some people say, yeah, not so much. And some people, well, that's not too bad. So getting that dialogue, because opinions, you know, take them for what they are.
Sure.
You still want to respect everybody's opinion.
Yep.
So,
yeah. They're like assholes.
I was going to go there, but I kind of shied away from that.
Most of the states.
I never heard that rendition before. Really? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Everybody's got them and they all stink.
I never heard the second verse.
If somebody, I'll let you go, then we'll go here.
Sure.
If somebody was to come in and not typecast you in a role and say, I love everything you guys can do, but I'd like to do this. What would you like for them to come out of their mouth? What kind of vehicle?
Well, we're actually working on something different right now, you know, still in the Mopar family, but something different from what we've done before. So, and that client came to us and said, this is what I have. What can you do with it? Instead of, this is what I've seen. I would like that.
Cab forward, Dodge Intrepid. Oh my goodness.
It's a little red wagon.
Lighter shade of pewter.
Yeah, it's a little red wagon for sure.
You know, I think to answer, you know, I go back and we were kind of like a shotgun. Someone was shooting and we were spraying different ideas and different cars out. We did a BMW, did a Boss Mustang. We did some different stuff. And it was like, you know, I come at it and say, let's refine this. We've tooled in carbon molds for, you know, 68 through 70 Chargers. Like, let's focus on monetizing that. Let's do this because we still haven't done our best ever, you know, Yep. Like there's still so much more refinement that we can do. And so having Tantrum, that 9-liter car, it was a big car for us. It really set a place for us, you know, in a certain space at the highest echelon. And so it was like, well, you know, we got together as a group. It's not a decision made in a closed door. Yeah. You know, you guys, you know, talking with the shop guys and Lyle, and we're like, we still have a lot of things we want to do in this make and, you know, and in the B-body space, but you know, there are other Mopar cars that we will do.
What's going to be the plan on engines?
We just recently, might have been in social today. I didn't see it, but we're a dealer now for DSR, for Don Schumacher Racing. Okay. So we're going to be utilizing some of their crate motors going forward. And so that's exciting.
Awesome.
Make great product. And yeah, so we.
Yeah. And part of that is client driven as well.
Yeah.
You of course, you have your clients like 1,000 horsepower, 1,200 horsepower. That's great. Some people aren't that way. This car is 700-ish horsepower. That's what the client was looking for. Yeah. And there's plenty of product that we can fit in there that meets that requirement. Plenty. 700 is plenty horsepower for a lot of people, for sure.
It's manual crazy car. That's looked down upon now. It's only 700 horsepower.
Right. Yeah, that's a fair point.
500 used to be the magic number, not
you couldn't
15
touch it
years ago.
Yeah. Yep. And Ghost is a manual car, so 700 on a manual car, no traction control, no ABS. It's a great driving car.
Yep.
Before GNRS, of course, we live in Wisconsin, and based on timing, we can't get the car out there to get miles on.
You guys got that same problem.
It's brutal, isn't it?
I know. It's so brutal.
Yeah.
So
and we're still dealing with it. It's like the weather just doesn't
I know.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for him to put that brine down again. Right. Just it tells me there's a storm coming.
Right.
I'm like, look at, they striped the road again. Thanks.
So when we were down in Southern California, we unloaded and went driving.
Yeah.
Put miles on it, and just you have to. It's part of that. What we want to be confident in that product before it goes to a client to say, yeah, we ran it and we ran it well. And so
we showed them to GRS with a completely dirty, trashed out car. Sure. And they're like, wow, all right.
Yeah, well,
we're like, well, we drive it. So,
that'll happen. But it's also good experience for us because we can experience the changes that we've made from a geometry standpoint, for a drivetrain standpoint, right down to mechanical. This is a redesign on the console. We redesigned switches, and how does that form, fit, and function feel to us as well? And take that in as knowledge.
Yeah, the drivability stuff is key, and it's a challenge being in the Midwest, and each year presents a new challenge, and the season shifts, and it's tough. But we had a similar experience. We were out at Barrett-Jackson for the Barrett-Jackson Cup, and was it February?
Yeah, last week in January.
Yeah, and we had a brand new square body truck that had, I don't know, 10 miles on it or something. And then we had to do this little road tour thing to go out there. Well, the truck's fresh. I mean, just when a car's fresh.
Absolutely.
But we're like, well, hell, this is a perfect opportunity. It's about a 200-mile round trip.
It was the Castrol path to success.
That's right. Path to performance.
Yeah.
We're performance driving.
Castrol path to performance. You got to throw the plug in.
There's a lot of performance. There's a ton of performance.
Right.
But it's, speak to that. If you've built a number of cars, and there's something to be said to be able to do something like that, to show up and have a car that's unproven.
They always flawless.
Be confident enough to jump in it.
No issues.
You're 1,500 miles away, and let's go flog this thing. Let's get some test miles on it.
Yeah.
No punch list whatsoever.
It's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
You're in Southern California traffic.
So you're not really driving then, you're just kind of sitting there.
Well,
test the coolant system.
Yeah, very much so. But a fair point. Turn on the air, turn it wide open.
Yeah.
Are we going to have a problem? So all those little things. Do the windows go up and down in this heat? We're in Wisconsin, It's been in 70 degrees its whole life. So all those little things. So it's nerve-wracking. So you get out there, and so that first 50 miles, you're like, what was that sound?
Yeah.
Oh, did you hear that? It's like Ghost Story or something. You're trying to hear everything. But then as that confidence grows, of course, okay, we want to address these. And when the car gets back, you have your punch list, and the shorter the punch list, the better it went. So.
Yeah, and when you're the project manager, you just want to pull that car so bad out of the shop. You just want to wrestle it from them. You're like, I need that. I need this thing now. And they're like, it's not done. I'm like, finish it. Is it cooked yet? It's like the watch pot never boils, Yeah. It reminds me when we finished Hallucination for Ralph Giles. We did a car for him 2 years ago now, I think. We went to Gingerman in Michigan. A close little, 1.8 mile closed circuit.
Yep.
And showed up, and I think it got up to 95 degrees, and Ralph's, penned the Gen 5 Viper, and you know, he's just Ralph. He drives the shit out of everything. It's great.
Yeah.
And he gets in and he's doing, you know, 6-lap sessions, like threshold braking, like getting out of that car, getting into the Viper, getting into his Alfa Romeo that he built with, you know, some sort of funky power plant in it.
Honda S2000.
Yeah. And just on a side note, just such a great guy. But putting the car on its door handles, like just absolutely driving the shit out of it.
First time hard running.
Yeah.
So
And
nervous? Yeah, for sure.
track day, you know, racing slicks on one set of wheels. You know, I mean, it's real. Like he's on it. And that was probably the most nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he is who he is in the industry, and he worked with us very closely on the build. You know, FaceTiming on like hood to shape and stylistically, and he, you know, worked on the wheels, and he's passionate. He's great, you know. But you wanted to
become.
Exactly. What's that?
How close did y'all become?
I mean, you dealt with them more than I did, but you know, we know Ralph. I mean, I'd call him for just about anything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Love to have him on the podcast at some point, but I wanted to know if y'all ever had any discussions or what his personal struggles with the new direction of his brand, specifically from
Can I just stop you? We can edit this out if this is incredibly rude, but who's Ralph Jones?
He's the designer for Stellantis Mopar.
Yeah, SRT.
Yeah.
He's the big guy.
Head of global
Sorry, I
design for
live under a
Stellantis.
fucking rock.
No, you're good.
Not a problem.
He's,
He's one of those guys that, from my experience, is of course different from Tom's, because we're trading sketches. Hey Ralph, here, let me just take a picture of my screen and let me see, and hand mark it up. Oh, let's change this contour, this console. So that experience is quite a bit different than most of our experiences, because this is an individual that is a designer. This is his life. This is what he breathes and lives every day.
It's like doing your first tattoo on a tattoo artist.
Yeah,
he's doing it at a commercial level.
Think this is any good?
Yeah, like we're a tiny little shop, and he's like, I want you to paint my masterpiece.
Yeah.
Basically what he said. This is the dream car I want.
Right.
And you've got the motor, you know, is a 001 Elephant. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger, really, you know? Yeah. And so the pressure was on for sure.
But in a good way. Not the type of person that's going to nitpick or just is really into it. And that was a very rewarding experience for sure. So
cool.
My history at the racetrack and the ride I got in that Gen 5 Viper that day, it's top 3 for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he
brought out his Gen 5 Viper track car.
Yeah.
Slicks, aero, the whole deal.
Yep.
You know, so he was giving joy rides, which was a lot of joy for sure.
Joy or fear?
No fear. Yeah, no fear. Gingerman's a sweet little track, a lot of runoff, so not a big deal at all.
Oh, you guys have had a lot of wild clients. I mean, I know you did a car for Robert Downey Jr.
Yep. Oh, thank you.
Kevin Hart.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. 3 and 2 cars. Yeah.
Out of all these guys, let's talk a little bit about what it's like dealing with some of these guys. Like Robert Downey Jr., is he involved in the car build, or is that like Robert Downey Jr.'s handler that just reaches out and, hey, Robert wants a Mustang? And
Do you have to call him Iron Man? Does he make you?
Or do you call Rob? Is it Rob, or is it, at this stage of the game, you're like, Rob,
Bobby,
what's up?
You know, most of it's more of the latter, more of the handler kind of thing in those situations for sure.
Gotcha.
So, you know, when you get into people like that, they're very busy individuals.
Yeah.
So there's people in the middle that are working to execute that vision.
Is he involved
saving the world? Yeah, he's saving the world.
When he's not. I mean, is he communicating like a vision? Was it him that wanted that particular year Mustang, and he's got some ideas of this is what I want to do with it? This is kind of like a color I like.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's that dialogue that you're trading back and forth. You know, if it's a color palette that you're presenting, if it's texture palettes, those are things, you know, it's down to text, picture, what do you think of this? So it's pretty straightforward at that point.
You're in competition with so much other stuff you have no idea about. We're just one small facet. I mean, we like to say, Speedcore is a place for those A-list guys to come and sort of the country club of enjoyment in terms of building a car and that expression. But at the end of the day, there's only so much time in the day, and you have to lay it out what answers you need. Like, here's this color combination, here's this, choose, because you will be waiting. It's just the reality of it. You need an answer, you better define it the way A, B, or C, pick, and away we go. And if it morphs from that, great. That's great. You can have that dialogue, but we're running a business. At the end of the day, you need answers to continue to, make sure we hit dates and timing and stuff like that.
Unless you just leave the shot clock running, but you don't want to do that.
No, you can't,
And the other thing is they're also relying on you.
Right.
Yes.
They're relying on you to come up with ideas. Hey, what do you think? At the end of the day, they came to you for a reason, and that reason is product that they've seen from you before. So they like that. And how can I be involved in that, but also have you express what your vision is for this project?
That's what I was thinking. You tell them straight up, listen here, fucking Bobby. you call us.
Huh. Right?
You're junior. I'm going to put senior on the phone.
Yeah.
Junior.
I don't remember that dialogue.
And that's why we don't have those clients.
Right. But again, for other clients that aren't A-listers, it's very similar. Yeah. Again, different for Ralph, for sure.
Sure.
Because
I keep talking about this A-list. Has anybody ever seen this list? Everybody always talks about this A-list and B-list and C-list celebrities.
No, I'm just used to the S-list myself.
Yeah. How far down does it go? Because everybody always talks about like C-list celebrities are like bottom of the barrel. So how far down?
You wonder what list you're on?
I'm not on a list. I'm not on that list. We are all on lists.
Yeah.
Not a good
I'm
one.
on somebody's search history. Again, a list I don't know I'm on.
It's usually a do not in front of it. Do not fly.
Do not fly.
Nice.
I feel like we've skipped over a lot of
big chunk in the middle.
A big chunk in the middle, right? We've talked about Speedcore. We've talked about how you got to Speedcore. You talked you were interested in vehicles from a very young age. But for listeners out there and guys that are either have made it or working hard to make it, they're in the shop right now busting ass. It would be disingenuous to be like, I liked cars.
No.
Yada, yada, yada. I'm working for Speedcore. We're building shit for Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
The end. Like, there's got to be some...
Yeah, you want to fill in the pieces there.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it was like for almost everybody is experience. Diverse experience. Just being willing to do any and everything. And that has, for me, led to that I want to work with people on the shop floor. In other environments I've been to, there's the clear delineation between design and engineering and then production or manufacturing. In a small shop, you can't have that mentality. Hey, if you walk out in the fab shop and it's kind of messy, don't be afraid to grab a broom. Help those guys out. They're busy grinding, shaping, and welding. Help them out. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
In high school, did you know that you were going to make a living in the automotive industry?
No, not a clue. Not a clue at all.
What did you want to do?
I was actually into architecture at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where I thought I'd go. And, life throws a lot of curveballs, and where you land sometimes is pretty interesting. And this has been that interesting landing for sure. And a great landing, and I enjoy it. We get to meet some fascinating people, not only in our projects, but people in the industry.
You guys.
Yeah, fair point.
Fucking awesome.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
man.
man.
No, it
You
really
just got
is.
to know us.
Yeah, you know, stick around for a while.
Come on the line.
Give it a minute, right? No, but that's, ultimately that's what it is. We talked about the old timers in our shop, pay those guys respect.
Yep.
They're going to teach you more than sitting down at some screen is ever going to teach you. And, don't be afraid to walk out and touch something. When you design something for me in the role, you design something, you look at it on the screen for hours and you think you have an idea till something comes in, then you run your hand along it.
Yep.
And you're like, oh yeah, it did make sense because all the curvature analysis, all the zebra striping, all these tools are great, but it doesn't matter until you can touch it, look at it in the flesh. That's a big part of it.
Well, that's a good point there, because what you guys are doing, you're surface modeling and you're creating full body panels for carbon. You're making full carbon fiber cars. Yep. So how important is that to produce the prototype versus you're so confident in this that you're going to take this right to a mold?
Yeah. First things first, don't be confident. Be humble always, because because it'll come back and bite you right in the backside every time. So going into it, again, talk to the people, use your tools that you have available, but until it comes in and everybody says, "Oh yeah, that looks good," or "That feels good," you're never confident. And for me, at least, and that's part of keeping that desire to continue to improve.
Sure.
Is important for sure. But somebody on the English wheel is looking at it going, yeah, I'd have probably changed this by about, 3 degrees or, couple, degrees.
Let's just give him a carbon panel instead of running that through.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just because he already stretched it too far.
It's quite true. But, again, that commitment to tooling is a big step for us.
Yeah.
Because going back and revising stuff like that is not as easy as walking up to the wheel or the shrinker stretcher and saying, oh, I can fix that.
What are the nerves like? And you're ready to hit submit on, turn that thing into a mold, and it's final at that point.
Especially when we talk about some of the scales of our parts. When you're talking about say a front splitter or something, or a bumper, or
quarter panel.
Yeah, any of these large components, that's a big investment. So when you're looking at, you're always in your mind, have you lost sleep over it? Absolutely. Have I woken up in the middle of the night saying, did I get that right? So that,
did
but
I forget the mount?
and in all respect, that holds true for a lot of people, but it is stressful, but that's what we do. That's what we thrive on to a certain degree. If you weren't pushing, you wouldn't be, trying. So
as Josh was talking about filling in the pieces, the thing that stands out the most to me that I'm really curious about, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first car, the one that put you on the map. Was it the Tantrum Charger?
Yep.
So how did something like that come about? Its inception to, was that the first time you guys started playing with carbon fiber? When did you decide that, hey, I'm sick of metal finishing and this is so labor intensive, let's make it all out of carbon? How?
I feel like they signed an NDA before they came on here. They're shrouded in secrecy.
No, in reality, part of that is our company history of individuals that were involved with the company previously and such.
There's 6 people listening. So
it may have started at 6. We're at 4.
We're at 8 in Australia and
it's growing.
3 in Oklahoma and 4 in Canada. So add those up. So
that's double digits.
I think 2 of those 15. Are our customers.
I don't have enough fingers for that. So, so part of that is that, and personnel.
Yeah.
Well, it does boil down to people. When I look back on projects, when I think about Tantrum, I think about how that project was going about and where we're at with Ghost, for example, and how as a company and people, we've evolved, how we're approaching things differently and things like that. When Tantrum was done, carbon fiber, whoa, what is that? And what is it doing in the hot rod?
That was 2015. It feels like an age ago.
Yeah.
But it was, at that point, no one saw that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was, again, that car became so iconic that way. It was a Hot Wheel.
Was that for a
within
customer?
like 6 months. What's that?
That was for a customer?
It was actually. I think it was a customer. Then it kind of changed, and our owner Jim, I think, owned it for a little bit. And it kind of morphed. It just moved around. You know how that stuff can do that. But yeah, I mean, to your point, I think that drove a lot of where we're at today. No question about it. I mean, the car was so big. It was so outrageous,
QC4, the 9-liter.
Yeah.
When you guys did that, was that before like the concept, or was the SB4 in the works and they're like, let's get something out. Let's start getting our toes wet. And
my understanding is both those motors were available as stern drive options in like the cigarette 52 to 60 foot boat. You'd buy them as a twin, or these big cat, big boats, like from Miami to Havana.
Sure.
Where
those
you're
are
running
big
1,000
boats,
fuel,
lots of-
1,000-gallon fuel
Lots of
tanks.
open space.
1,000-gallon fuel
3 or
tanks.
4 of them in there. Yeah, not just
3 or
one.
4.
Yeah, you got to have room for like 3 or 4 kilos.
Well,
So
I think it's a little bit more than that.
motors and gas tanks. That's it.
What's fascinating, at least,
Square
and
groupers.
this probably isn't even for, I'm not sure this is true, but a story I did hear, you can timestamp this too, but when you have an
You're saying it, I'm leaving it in.
SB4, when you had an SB4, if it timed out, you could send it back to racing. They don't send you the same motor back. They take that one, the consistency of those motors, they send you another one. Goes right back out. Because they dyno run those SB4s for 7 days, 24 hours a day on the dyno. I've seen them running.
Yeah, the way they
the
prove stuff's
break-in
wild.
and
Yeah.
the irony is that the road, the street version is a great motor. It's fantastic. But, we've had a few clients that have had some issues with them, not probably self-induced most of the time, but, it's,
Yeah, it's a hell of a cool company.
Yeah.
I mean, the QC4 in a boat is mind-blowing.
right.
It's like a fucking
Yeah,
jet.
Think of 4, 3 or 4 of those.
Yeah, we've had the privilege of ripping around with a customer who's got a handful of them with like the 1750s or
1350 and 1550.
1550s. Damn, what a
That's on pump gas.
what a piece of
It's
a pump
engineering.
gas
1350 and
motor.
pump gas.
The two 1350s were in that cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was dicey.
Yeah.
That was
So
Yeah, in a
it
video.
was not as dicey as y'all's ride, because I was in that one, and y'all's ride was way dicier after that.
the Tantrum, you could be at 130 and just nail it, and 3rd gear, 4th gear, and the car just wheel spin, out of like.
That's the
The
power
car
of those
was
boats.
absolutely insane.
From like 100 to 150, it just pulls and you're just
it's
going like crazy.
Right, and that duty
What a
cycle,
blast.
the testing that Tom spoke to, you just don't see in automotive. It's just a different mindset. So, when you look at how they build those motors and how they test them, and taking that and applying it to automotive it's such a leap for sure. And so it was kind of amazing to see, like, really, you think that'll work?
yeah.
So,
Racing's a client of ours outside of the automotive stuff. I mean, from a composite side, we build the 450R.
The cowlings?
Cowling. We do the F360, the Formula One cowls for them. We do
transom covers.
drive shaft covers, a number of other components for them. So they're smaller volume, but they're race bred, and they're great to work with because they come to us they're looking for solutions. They want to make things lighter. They want to do things and push the envelope,
And it's a local company.
yeah.
Similar
Absolutely.
to a lot of companies in the Midwest.
Yeah.
They can drive 40 minutes to our facility or vice versa.
That's cool. Yeah, hell of a neat company. It's a shame they did such a damn good job with their outboard motors, because that's probably what kind of killed the SB4 is the demand.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, if I recall, they wanted 10 units a month sales.
Yeah.
I mean, between all, I don't think that changed from
Right.
the transition from us to you, and we were working on the manual to service the motor at the same time, and it wasn't like, oh shit. We were like, whew, all right, these are $30,000 motors or $35,000 motors at the time. They weren't an easy, it wasn't an easy sell.
Right.
But the volumes were estimated equivalent to what they would do in the marine market.
And they hang 10 of them off the back of one boat now.
Yeah, right.
Nobody told them
well,
that
those
there's
are
only
outboards.
one
These are
that
stern
goes on
drive
any
motors.
car.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean,
one per car.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah. The irony is that it's so good, and now everybody, you get the same calls we do, and it's like, God, I wish they were out there.
The other difference is on the car side of things, the guy's not halfway through building his car and then he sees that we come out with a new car with 2 motors in it. He's like, I want that one. Let's sell this one while I'm halfway. The boat guy, all you do is hang another one or add another 50 horsepower to it, and then their boat. I'm done with this one. It's old.
They mastered the art. They mastered the art of the gateway drug.
Yeah.
Like the 300's a gateway. Yeah. Right? Because then you're like, oh shit. I mean, I put some.
And you got three
They got
300s?
400s.
Shit.
450s are pretty cool. Put an R on the end of that. Well, shit. Now they got 500s.
450s is cool, but 6 is way
a
better.
supercharged V8, supercharged V12. What?
Yeah.
Put that.
Yeah.
in.
Crazy stuff, man. Cool. So that Tantrum car.
Yeah.
To get back to
Mm-hmm.
where did the shift come, and when did the business plan come together? Was that car what formulated it, that we're like, chargers are badass, carbon fiber's badass, we can do this? That's the direction we're going. Did that car generate so much hype that there was a next customer that said, I want something like this, but maybe with the Hemi or something a little
Or we
more
had a shit
manageable?
ton of molds, so let's like build more cars.
Yeah. That car drove the youth for our labor. That car, which is fascinating. But the kids that I hire, that I call them kids now.
Right.
But the mid-30s guys, they saw that car. They are now working at Speedcore.
Gotcha.
That's what's
So it attracted talent.
Yeah, it attracted talent.
Right.
And it, that has been something that's been a bit of a mantra for us. They're like, that car was fucking badass.
Yeah.
Like, we can improve on that. That car was half carbon, right? The front clip was. The rear of the car wasn't. It was on original frame with a stubber on the front.
Got it.
9 liters, right?
Yeah.
What? It just, headers over the top of the motor.
Right.
I mean, it was just absolutely
You
mind-blowing.
evolved from there.
Under a stock hood, basically, with a 2-inch cowl,
So-
I mean, it's just...
Yeah, I mean, that's a catalyst is what you're speaking to. So
Yeah.
the next car after that was Evolution, which was the first full carbon car,
Okay.
on our own chassis, so on and so forth, full chassis. So again, incremental movements on projects.
Got it.
As you kick that one off and the next project, it's like, okay. And you generate that interest is what it boils down to.
Yeah.
The carbon stuff, what's the learning curve like on that? Did you originally start painting cars? Were they immediately like clear coated? I know that a lot of people in the industry struggle with like finishing over the top of carbon fiber. It always wants to print through.
Sure.
It kind of rises up in the sun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Like the learning curve, the trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
Where'd you start? Where are you at now?
Yeah. So process is exactly what you're speaking to. How you approach carbon fiber is an important component to that. Process, infusion, pre-preg laid up, which is our process. Early on, we didn't necessarily have that process, but now every product that we do, we have a huge autoclave, 93 inches in diameter, 10 feet long, so we can fit quarter panels for a charger in there. So aerospace grade pre-preg is the tagline that we'll put on there, but each of these products is still hand laid up for sure, but it's that curing process. These are
the recipe.
Yeah, these are finicky
the cooking process.
Yeah, these are finicky
Super
products.
You get Walter White in there to help with the cook.
Nice.
You got it.
Nice.
That's exactly it.
Did you have a carbon fiber arm of the parent company before, or was this just
it
self-developed?
Jump on it and figure it out?
Yeah.
Developed, for sure. Even down to the tooling. How we approach tooling is an important component to that.
Yeah.
Typically when you look at a car like Ghost there, a lot of the panels are original because we pulled molds from an original car. Get that car dialed in from a metal finishing standpoint, then make the mold, because a part is only as good as the mold that you take it from.
Yep.
So when we talk about the engine bay, that is designed via CAD from scan data and then turned into plugs to create tooling. So there's a multi-step process that's involved in that.
Okay.
So that tooling then dictates, again, your part quality. So having the autoclave, creating parts from solid plugs, curing it properly, at that point, you can treat a carbon panel very similar as you would a metal panel. So prep it properly, clear coat it, treat it as you would a regular panel.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, plugs are effectively your product master, because a plug is made from your CAD data, right? So you would export that file, in our case, to an outside vendor, and they'll machine the plug out of a like a composite board,
Okay.
like a ROM for a Ren board.
Yep.
And that becomes your master. It's the the shape, right? For our clients like Mercury or Cigarette or some of those clients, we produce our own products for Harley-Davidson for our own line. Everything is from a plug master. So then you create your molds from those plugs. Okay.
Yep.
The autoclave is really a harsh environment, right? Because you're talking about heat and pressure, and your tooling, it gets tired, and you need to have that master plug to go back to create new tooling. We're not a high volume option, right? We're a low to medium production option, and the plug allows us, we can look at a part when we finished it and go, that's not right. We can look at the tooling and go, okay, here's our issue. We'll go make a new mold.
So how much can you roll through? How many parts can come out of a mold?
Absolutely on the complexity of the part.
Okay.
It's really specific to that. Now, many, many more, as we've got I'll call it our recipe, or, the production style.
Yeah, our knowledge.
Our knowledge
as
is
a company
so
and
important.
employees, for sure.
Yep.
Training employees is a big component to this. Getting to professional organizations.
Yeah.
Abaris
is great in Reno. Send our guys there for current aerospace training.
Okay.
So, the composite world's changing so fast. There's so much development, so much knowledge, and so many technologies. So, anytime we can, budget and infuse our guys into those spaces, that's really, really important.
You mentioned doing Harley stuff. You're doing like road glide and street glide fenders with House of Harley.
Yep.
Is that like a collab thing y'all are doing together, or how's that work?
We own the dealership.
Y'all own House of Harley?
Yeah, we own House of Harley. Yeah.
Well,
so it's one of
the enterprise.
Big part of the Casmeric enterprise. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that gives us the ability to
give discounts on Harley-Davidson.
Is this your jam? Hell, we need to know that.
Yeah,
we need to know that.
I'm in the market for a bike. I've been doing some. No, you those fenders and shit. That's really cool. That's a huge market, completely outside of our world. But
right, but it is part of our world, as Tom alluded to. We have a dealership within our company. We have guys who build, ride, and do cool stuff.
It's a badass Harley. We just talked about it on the last episode. That's where Henry they rode up to get their bikes. Yeah, House of Harley gets a lot of mentions on this podcast, as a matter of fact.
Cool.
Very
So,
nice.
I mean, each one of those is worth something. We'll talk about the discounts. It's all there stuff. I mean,
Nice. But, from a development standpoint, having that relationship gives us access to bikes, people, opinions, like we spoke of earlier.
Yep.
But in having that available to us, come up with ideas. You know, right now we offer front fender console, side covers, inserts, rear fenders are in develop, signal cover, all kinds of products that we develop that we can then go out to house and other dealers and say, hey, you know what? We at Speedcore as a company have an expression in this space. And
here's an idea. What could Roadster Shop, Speedcore, and House of Harley do with like a tobacco fade lowrider ST? I mean, hey, limitless.
Yeah. I bet you there's a guy here that we could give it to that would drive it to and from work every day.
And that's just
from there. It's, I mean, it's limitless.
Yeah.
I'm sensing an ulterior motive here.
Normally a lot smoother than sliding these in.
Oh, I had no idea that they owned the dealer. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Cool shit. Standard question time.
Yeah.
Best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh, man. Like probably as many of your people on the show would be from my dad. Be as ready to walk away from the deal as you are to sign it. Absolutely.
It's a good one.
You know,
I thought it was going to be hold the fucking flashlight straight. Right here.
No, I said here.
He used to call me Ass Eyes. That was great. You know,
Ass Eyes?
Ass Eyes, yeah. It's a nickname I got at the racetrack, you know. It's just like looking at me, you know, I'm just a kid, wet behind the ears. He's working on an old Alpha GTA, like horse quack, like 2-liter championship car from 67 that he bought in 74 for racing. And I was just awe-inspired, just looking at this thing. And he'd be like, what are you looking at, Ass Eyes? And, you know, so, no, it's great.
Oh, memories.
Isn't that Casey Rolfing?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
You just don't ever get too sold.
No,
on the deal.
Absolutely. You know, I mean,
attached.
It's about a negotiation, isn't it? I mean, it's the truth. You know, you got to look at things pragmatically and understand that, you know, it's just not necessarily the art of the deal, but recognize that this is just a point in space. And
yeah, come to think about it, I'd probably just buy my own motorcycle. Honestly, it's probably
exactly. Yeah.
Still on that, are you?
I'm not sure it was the best piece of advice I got. It's just the one I remember.
What about you?
Yeah, so I've said it before. Is from a old German grandfather who said, you know, be good. If you can't be good, have fun. So it's kind of a simple.
You and your twin brother both took that.
Right. Yeah, it's a simple one, but quite effective actually.
It's good. Best car movie and why?
Goodness.
Never heard of that.
Not much. Nah.
Oh, you guys have built cars for movies, right?
Yeah. You
yeah,
know,
we have. Yeah.
The Mad Max stuff is cool. Like I always enjoyed that.
A new one's coming.
But I don't know. I mean, it's not modern for me. It's going to be some sort of throwback thing.
Okay.
But, you know, gosh, I don't really even know.
Oh, yeah. For me, I thought about this. It was, I was young, 13, 14, I think. Smokey and the Bandit. Remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Bert ripping through the hills. That Trans Am just wide open.
Just
you're
getting
like,
it.
really?
That's pretty good podcast prep you're doing there. That's pretty solid.
It's a fair question.
We worked till 3 o'clock today.
Hey, long
really
day.
good,
Long
you
day.
know,
I get there at 6.
Hey, you had an hour and a half, 2 hour drive.
No, like, wait a minute.
I mean, honestly, that's an insult. You had two and a half fucking years to do prep. We've been at it for a while.
Have you seen? I just saw yesterday they're doing Fall Guy remake.
Yeah, oh, for sure. That looks hilarious.
They're gonna fuck
Josh
it the
is
fuck up.
he's-
I'll watch it.
Josh is skeptical.
I'm an OG Fall Guy guy.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah, Lee Majors. There's only one. But
Yeah.
I'll give it a whirl. It'll be an entertaining movie. It won't be the Fall Guy.
Ryan Gosling did a decent job in that. What was it Driver? Or what was it that he was in? One where he wore like the scorpion jacket.
Driver.
Is that what it's called?
Not Baby Driver. That's a different one. Baby Driver's good though.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Baby Driver's a really good.
Yeah.
Not really good. It's a good
car
watch.
chase.
It's entertaining.
All right.
Oh yeah, the soundtrack's really good on it. It's got it was recorded well.
That's a good takeaway from this.
I think that was
Baby
one of
Driver.
the.
I'm gonna pull that.
That was one of the last.
When you
Kevin
had me on
Spacey,
again, I'm coming
Kevin
after it.
Spacey movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey's
Whatever happened to him? You guys build a car for him?
Yeah.
Build a van or something?
No, and finish with no.
He said a van.
Yeah, we gotta build a car for that cat.
Like a 91 Econo one?
No,
What's that 59 you got downstairs? I think that's
Seat
a bit might be pretty.
What are all these shackles?
Carbon fiber doors. quick open.
No, that's
So
good.
even no old throwbacks, no old racing movies, nothing
my
that you
gosh.
watch with your dad. There's got to be something. We have not had in 160 something. We've never had a I don't know
Oh,
that we won't accept
Wow.
that answer.
You just
What's
pick
the-
something.
but there's a whole bunch.
What's the
It
six
doesn't-
pack?
Ronin?
It doesn't mean Ronan's a great car
Yeah,
chase.
that was
Sure.
Josh,
Crazy
what's the
stuff.
six pack one?
Six pack is the
Is it
the
just
race.
called Six
It's
Pack?
just called Six
Okay.
Pack. If you not watched it,
I've seen it. I saw it years and years ago.
you need to let Wyatt watch it.
Yeah.
He would love that.
But that's a like 70s era NASCAR.
It's a NASCAR thing. Yeah, a bunch of
There
kids
was
go
a
together.
football player in it, right? That was the
Bradshaw might have been that one.
Yeah.
But Bradshaw was in Cannonball Run.
okay.
That was the
Oh my god!
thing.
Yeah, those were good too. Those
Cannonball
were
Run.
fun.
Yeah,
I
I
rank
guess.
Cannonball Run above Smokey and the Bandit. All those.
Oh, interesting.
As a total movie,
Yeah.
Smokey and the Bandit has some better parts, but as a total movie, Cannonball Run
Yeah, fair point.
outranks it.
What gets you? What,
Many a
what
tagline for those.
What tips the scales?
The different types of vehicles that
it
they're
the
all driving.
Countach?
The Countach is cool, but Mel Tillis in there stuttering because he really does stutter, right? You know, so that was the whole thing. He could not speak because he always stuttered, but he could sing and never stutter. So he's stuttering and also playing it up a little bit in the movie, and it's fucking hilarious. And then you watch it again. I've seen it way too many times, but the things that you pick up as you've learned a little bit more about life as you get a little more adult, and you pick up on all the adult humor that went right over your head when you watched it as a kid. You're like, oh shit, they're like talking about beavers and shit. Like I know what they're talking about. Like that type of stuff is like really funny. Yeah.
So many like that. Hollywood Nights.
Yeah.
Oh,
Think
yeah.
about it. You
Yeah.
watch it when you were young, and you're like, turn it on as an adult. You're like, what?
Yeah, it's a little
They
racy.
said that. Right.
I've watched like all the iconic car movies with my son, but Hollywood Nights I haven't yet. Just, I mean, now he's getting to the age where there's a lot of sexual innuendos
Sure.
in it. But good, and just Tony Danza in general is a sexual
Yeah.
innuendo. I mean, goddamn.
Yeah. He's no Harrison Ford though.
No, Bob Falfa.
No.
I would say Burt Reynolds' mustache.
That's the epitome of sex symbol. But I've always been like Sally Field. Like I always had, Sally Field was just, she's not a sex symbol, but she's always just frog to me.
Sure.
Somebody needs to let Phil Smunt know that
This stash.
what's his name? Yeah, what the fuck's his name?
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds.
Yep.
Tom Selleck.
It's a little dated, right? It was a sex symbol maybe in the 79.
He says it's his Texas thing. They're going to Texas, so
what
it's
it
a
is?
Texas stash.
Okay.
They got some weird shit planned or something like that.
Isn't he
Yeah, there's a
dead?
mustache party or something going on there. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Caught me off guard.
He's gonna, give him
What was
mustache
the
rides.
Steve McQueen Le Mans?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Le Mans.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's like, that was pretty serious at the time. I mean, honestly, I lived at the racetrack. I grew up like Road America, 3 years old. 1972 Can-Am, like watching.
That's a good era.
Jordan. Oh, it's
You need to give-
absolutely insane. And the cars that we still own today. Like I've got a 52 Allard J2X that raced in the streets of Elkhart Lake. I mean, car itself is so fucking iconic. It's crazy.
Well,
but
Tom,
as a kid, that was just like where we were. My old man was chasing a national championship in SCCA, and we were in the back of a Caprice wagon with an open wheel single axle trailer.
Hauling the precursor to
hauling a car to go to
I mean,
15 races during the summer. Like, it's all we did. It's all we did.
We were in the truck with my dad, and he was just chasing the bottom of a pack of cigarettes. That's it. And then the next one, we weren't going racing.
Well, I mean, it's still the experience.
Yeah.
And you'll never change it.
Tom, speak of your Allard, though, with the Keycoffer and Mercury. I mean,
that car was.
There's some big names you're throwing around there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the car was imported in the spring of '52. When you ordered an Allard, you ordered it via telegram. It was a British-American hybrid. You ordered a roller, and you told Allard what motor you were going to put in the car.
This is a V8, like they're
V8. This is early 331.
I'll let you pour.
So they only put 12 in these cars.
Yep.
And so you ordered the car, and Granatelli, actually, Vince Granatelli, if I have that right, he may be the son, but from Indianapolis, like IndyCar Racing, imported 3 cars.
Okay.
In the spring of '52, cars came over through the port of Chicago. This car went right to Fond du Lac, where Keycafer put a 331 in it.
Yep.
And had a 3-speed Ford, 48 Ford Pilot transmission in it. And,
is it 52?
Yeah, 52. Yep. And 42-gallon fuel tank. I mean, these cars were they were high-speed hay wagons. They were just absolutely insane. And that's a car right there. That's not it exactly. That's not mine, but it's close to that. If you scroll around, you'll find it. I saw a picture actually. Keep going down, you'll find it. Anyway, so the car was imported with 2 others. Went to Fond du Lac, where Keycafer put the 331 in it, and then it went up to Minneapolis to a guy named Eddie Jones. Eddie was a road racer, owned a small shop in St. Paul, Minnesota, and the car was an ice race car. St. Paul Carnival ice race car. And you went out, and the night before they would plow the ice on the little inland lake, and they would then heat the ice and then put like sawdust and sand into the ice and then let it refreeze. There was no studs at that time. You went out and ripped it.
It's wild.
Yeah, it was an absolutely crazy car. So in the summer of '52, the car was raced by Eddie in Elkhart Lake, and he went out for practice and broke the transmission, which was super common because that 48 was a piece of shit.
Yep.
And so the car was parked. My father worked for Brooks Stevens, who was involved with design and engineering of all sorts of interesting cars, including the Wienermobile, right?
No shit.
But among other wacky shit
legendary.
they were doing, right? Well,
Interesting stuff as well.
yeah, absolutely.
Hiawatha train.
Trains, all sorts of cool stuff.
Don't play the Wienermobile. It's interesting as well.
I know.
It is.
Super exciting.
I recently saw it.
Everybody knows the Wienermobile, right?
Throwing shade at you about the Wienermobile.
I know.
Yeah.
So
But there's a lot more pedigree behind
yeah,
just the
absolutely.
Wienermobile.
Yeah. Absolutely. But that's the one everybody knows. So
Do you guys thought about doing a carbon fiber version?
No carbon fiber wieners in our shop.
So anyway,
first of
the
all,
car-
I guarantee that's a lie. You just, I 100% guarantee that's a lie.
Yeah.
Maybe not the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, but for you to say there's no carbon fiber wieners, I guarantee it's a lie.
Let me think about that.
3D printed mold, maybe getting there.
So this car ended up, Eddie drove the cars, presumably scared the shit out of himself in it. The next year he was driving a Seata, like a tiny little, saloon car. And the road racing effectively ended soon after that, because in 1950, either late 52 or early 53, there was a tragic death in Watkins Glen, where an Allard, of all things, entered the front straight, hit the snow fencing on the outside of the front straight, killed a 7-year-old kid. And they didn't know what to do. Fred Wacker Drive in Chicago.
Okay.
He was a socialite that owned like a high-low speed Allard, a Caddy Allard. It was called the 8-Ball. It was a very famous car. He was arrested for manslaughter at the time. Wow. And the cover of a coffee book in that era had, basically the end of road racing, it was called. And it was there's a huge story in there about, Fred being arrested. He was later exonerated. But during this same time, the road racing had moved from the streets and they didn't know where to go with it. So they're moving it out to the airstrips. Okay. And because military guys knew how to weld, there was plenty of space. So they would cone off these airstrips and create racetracks and draw lots and lots of people. And so it was kind of the in-between before road racing, circuits like Road America and Watkins Glen proper were built to actually race cars. And so there's just tons of history around the car from our area. And we still, my dad bought it. Actually, I should say that my mom bought it for my dad in 1969. Wow. And car became available. And the story really is when some of these young men were graduating from college. They were young. They were 22, 23, mid 50s, early 60s. They were taking over family businesses. They were making good money. These ex-works cars were available, such as Allards, C-type Jaguars, 120 Jags, Nart Ferraris, like crazy cool stuff to us. Yeah. But the stuff was available. It was just, the racing community was turning cars so quickly. The design aspect was going so fast that these ex-works cars were available. And these guys are like, well, I'm sitting on $8,000. It's a king's ransom. I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy that fucking car. And they would buy them. It's equivalent to, I don't know what kind of money today.
Yeah,
so my mom heard about
billions of dollars.
Yeah, right. Well, now they're just absolutely staggering, crazy money. But at the time, it wasn't to the same, magnitude. But my mom's like, my dad loves that thing. He has a history with it. He knew it from Elkhart Lake in '52, yada yada. And so she bought the car. And so my dad didn't know. It was a surprise. Wow. And
honey, if you're listening, GT3RS.
GT3RS,
right?
Nice.
I know.
Nice.
I'm like, Core, you know what to do.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that, speaking of eras,
yeah,
Tom and he took me out in that Allard. And what we perceive as performance in a modern sense.
God. It's a tractor. You're racing a tractor.
It was...
It's
he's
a high-speed hay wagon, man.
It's fucking stepping into a corner and it's like, he's on the brakes. I'm like, what are you doing now? It's like, well, I'm braking because this thing will never stop before then.
Yeah.
And you just don't comprehend the level of talent or perception
also
that those
far
guys
ahead of everything else that was then.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a fair
whoever
point.
got to
It's
the
like,
first corner
we were
first had a
performance
really
then.
good chance
Yeah.
of winning. I mean, it was a standing start, right? The car, first gear was short and you just buried it. Wheel spin, you got there and you just, until the...
Biggest balls win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These are bias ply tires with inner tubes,
And
it was
6 inches wide.
not, yeah.
Big drum
absolutely.
brakes. Big drum
Huge
brakes. but
Elfin
still
drums.
Yeah.
And,
Racing needs to get back to that.
It's
Biggest balls win.
a
I mean,
ride,
not
but
fully there, but everything's so regulated
Yeah.
there. It's not biggest
Yeah.
balls wins anymore. It's the guy that can the best fuel mileage, or it's the best team here, or it's the best there. It's not about the driver anymore, unless you go to Isle of Man. Isle of Man still big as balls win.
That's
surprised they fit
I watch
themselves on
Isle Man and I'm
motorcycles.
like,
That's got a smaller fuel cell because there's like a pocket
Yeah.
that those huge nuts go down in.
It's just
Nice.
complete disregard for your life.
yeah,
Fuck yeah,
yeah,
it's
no,
on a
that's
different
I
level.
can't watch it. I
Different
get
level.
too nervous watching it.
Oh.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
I watch Formula One and MotoGP, so that's my biggest thing. So
MotoGP guys they still got some balls, obviously, for sure, but it's nothing like Isle of Man.
no.
So we're honing this too as season goes on. We do a certain question about your first vehicle, right? Now
Shit.
we get there. Now as we've started honing this, we've been taking some guesses and stuff, and sometimes we're there. We probably got an 85% success rate.
Yeah.
70% success rate. So something new we're gonna try. We're gonna start asking some qualifying questions. So each one of us gets one question. Okay? You can't tell us what the vehicles are. We're gonna ask you some questions. We're gonna take some guesses. The first thing that doesn't count as a question is, what age did each of you turn 16? What year?
16,
I'm sorry. What year? I apologize.
Shit. I have to
Just
think.
round it. Are we mid 90s?
1980.
1980, you turned 16.
What?
Yeah, I'm old.
Fuck, I don't
Thank you.
Thank you for like,
I wasn't even born yet.
around 40s.
I was
85.
2. 85, you turned 16. Okay.
Wow.
Now-
Really?
You each get one.
Damn.
We each get one question,
Okay.
all right? To help hone this. Who wants to go first?
Well, let's just keep it. I mean, we'll help hone in.
Yep.
Is it a utility vehicle? Is this something that you can? Did you use it around the farm? Could it be used around the farm?
That's very specific.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Absolutely not.
That's a waste of a
You
question.
got to check out what
No,
year the car I was
fucking
thinking came
ruled
out
shit
in.
up.
Okay.
Dude.
All right.
He just
Rolled out
took
in
about
a-
80% of the market away.
Not,
I agree.
not
I agree.
farm car.
Yeah.
Field car?
Well, it's not a fucking pickup truck.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I can tell you that no one has had this car.
Oh,
Hey, wait,
that's
careful.
helping my case. I just got to make sure the
Careful.
year's
Careful.
right.
We only get 3 hints.
No, this is that's the best hint I can give you.
Dude,
You got another question?
No one's had it.
I think I'm gonna solve.
okay.
Go for it.
Phil is gonna
well,
solve the question.
let's just write you down as a solve. I don't want to give it away.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and write it down right now. Let's lock it
I think
in.
I'll lock
But you
it in.
can't say
Do I
yes
have
or
to
no.
wager an amount?
No. Phil's going with
I'm gonna go with the Mercure.
Scorpio Mercure.
Yeah.
For him.
Yep.
Okay.
That's a fucking pull.
All right. That's you're
pull.
Wow.
you're right. You're locking that in.
I'm just-
very
little road racing.
very similar
Yeah.
to the direction I'm going with. But my next question is going to tell me which way I'm going. American or domestic?
American.
Okay.
I've got his pegged. I'm lost over here.
Yeah.
European.
European.
Wisconsin's tough.
Wisconsin and European.
I've got
Convertible?
It's
No.
a German family.
Yeah.
German family.
80. It's a diesel Mercedes.
That's where I was gonna go. Yeah.
I'm going diesel Mercedes.
So generous. So generous.
That is so
What's that?
funny.
What would that be? An E?
I'm with you,
190.
actually.
190.
I
Diesel
don't even know
190.
the answer
Yeah.
to that.
Wow, that's generous.
Oh yeah. I'm going Diesel Rabbit.
Oh.
Switch it up a little bit. No.
Okay.
No,
Diesel
too-
Rabbit.
too
Diesel
advanced.
190.
I'm gonna go late 70s BMW over here, and then I'm going silver Ford Taurus SHO.
Silver Ford Taurus SHO.
Awesome.
He said American. You're not a thing. I don't think. Wow, the American thing threw me off because I was going Saab with you on the Scorpio Mercure. American. You said 85.
Yep.
It was a Caprice Aero Coupe. Caprice Aero Coupe.
Biggest piece of back glass ever made.
Basically a NASCAR.
Not a G body. You do your fucking history. Look it up. Caprice Aero Coupe.
all way cooler. I had an 82 Dodge Omni 024.
Wow, you were close with the Rabbit.
Yeah, because it's a 1.7 Volksy motor.
Wow.
You had the motor, right?
I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you.
Omni, Dodge Omni.
It's like a Chevette.
024.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
had
it was like
buddy in high school had
the
one.
rad one
We'd
was
put
the
it up on
Shelby
its
one.
side all the time.
The cool Shelby
Terrible
version.
car. 1976 Volkswagen Super Beetle.
Oh,
Wow.
Damn.
$500 cash.
Damn.
Yeah.
through the winter and everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No defrosters. Scrape the inside of the window. My dad had a thing. It's like, if you want to drive, you have to buy your own car, pay for your own insurance. So it's like, okay, I was working a high school job. I had a coworker who's like, yeah, I've got this Super Beetle, $500. I'm like, I'll take it. So yeah, that was my car. Ripped that thing everywhere because it was so good in the winter.
Was it good in the winter?
Oh my God, it's so hooked up.
Really?
Engine over the rear. If you didn't want to see anything, that was fine. You know, it was good in the winter, but no, it's a great car. So much fun. We got in a lot of trouble with that thing. You wouldn't believe it, but yeah, we did.
Wow.
I knew we were in trouble with Wisconsin. That's a curveball.
It's a different. It's like
Yeah,
it's,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure. No doubt.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
What's your stance on the Scorpion Mercure?
Are you in a
Absolutely.
Have you ever had a Scorpio Mercure? Ever?
No.
Has anybody in your
No,
family ever had a
Yeah, no.
No.
I think I graduated to a Dasher wagon, you know, which was in the Volkswagen family. I moved out to Flagstaff, Arizona,
Dasher
and
wagon?
lived out there for 2 years and worked in the Grand Canyon and
Doing hippie shit.
yeah, like graduated. Like it was absolutely, man. Let it rip.
Do you think the
$500 car.
the second level spoiler provided more downforce?
I can remember that thing.
Was it 2 or 3?
I think it's 2.
It was just
Two.
two, yeah.
Was it just
Yeah.
2? It had the spine
What do
going
we
on the
say?
center,
Dual
right?
element.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was dual element.
It's still no Subaru SVX.
Ugly.
That was a
Oh,
supercar.
The SVX.
Yeah.
The XVX.
Future.
What are you talking about?
Oh, no.
From a design standpoint.
Do you think was there
it's a
any
window
wind,
rolls up in a window.
any wind noise in
Yeah,
those cars?
window, right?
No, honestly, that's why I got a probe, because I couldn't get it.
What did we call the probe? The anal probe. That's what we called it.
It was called the anal probe. So did everybody in high school, but it was still cool.
The Subaru
just saying.
SVX is a pole, man.
Subaru
That's
SVX is...
a hell of a
There
car.
was a solid meme on that. You can put anal in front of any Ford name, and it's phenomenal.
Anal Escort.
Explorer, Anal Ranger, Navigator.
Oh,
That's
damn.
That's truth.
Last but not least, your favorite law enforcement interaction story.
And up in Wisconsin, that could be DNR or whatever, you know,
Damn.
game and wildlife, whatever they.
It always it could be positive, negative, but everybody's had a story where you interacted with law enforcement in some
I'm
form
trying
or
to figure
fashion.
out if I should tell this story.
Then that's
Yeah,
obviously that's
you
the
guys-
one
you
question.
guys are all about it.
Yeah,
All right,
that's
so
the one.
I'm 15 years old.
It's past the statute of limitations.
Yeah,
so you're good.
absolutely.
2 years in the bar in Wisconsin.
15 years old.
Already got a
And
tab.
I'm in what would be considered West Mequon, which is where I grew up. I grew up in a town in Mequon, but west side. And
Is McQuan big enough to have sides? West side, north side, south side?
it is absolutely, yeah. So we're out there and we're at my buddy's house and we run out of beer, and guys like, I'm too hammered to drive the car. I'm like, well, I'll drive it. 15, right? So he's got a Scirocco, a Wolfsburg edition.
Lots of VWs up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
So I'm
There's
like,
a lot of
here you
German
go.
population.
Gives me the keys, and you know, what would you do in Mequon, rural town? You drive to Milwaukee to go buy your beer. So I jump in the car and head down to, you know, a place called Holton Liquor. It's on Holton Avenue off of, I believe it's North Avenue in Holton. Common place for us in high school. So I go there and I buy 2 cases of beer.
What kind of beer?
And yep, I turn around and I'm driving back and it's raining.
Old style.
And
Style? That's Chicago beer, right?
oh, what kind of beer?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's either High Life or Old Milwaukee.
Old Milwaukee.
Yeah,
can
it
see
would have
that.
been like an Old Mill situation.
Old Mill.
I don't even remember. But so I'm driving back, and I'm headed on Interstate 43 North, and it's raining, and car's running great. I'm kind of low on gas, and I see I'm going about 70 miles an hour. You know, just rolling along. Grateful Dead playing on the tunes. You know.
Peyote.
Yeah, exactly. So all of a sudden,
This
I
Grateful
see
Dead
a,
bear,
I
neon
see
Grateful Dead bears flying off
yeah, dancing bears, right? And I see a squad on the side of the road, and he's like, looks to be like grabbing like an exhaust, something like out of the right hand lane, and he pulls it out of the way, and I go by him, and he jumps in the car and flips on the lights, and decides he's gonna chase me. Right? I'm going 70. I'm 15, and I'm like,
Better keep up.
With
yeah,
beer in the car. Don't
I
forget
gotta
the
go.
beer.
I gotta go.
You had options at that
So
moment.
I absolutely just wouldn't, just take this thing to 115 miles an hour, right? Stretch it out as far as I can go.
Responsible
So we
move.
yeah, exactly. We it's a 7-mile chase, and we get off at an off ramp, and it's one of these off ramps. It's a little left-right chicane, and there's an on ramp, to go northbound that kind of hooks on the inside of it. Of course, it's wet. I can't make it.
You can go
I
Boudukin.
I
You can
absolutely, I jump this car, I launch it down into the valley, and it high centers on the crest of the on-ramp, the hoop of the on-ramp. And all of a sudden, I look in my mirror, and I see him, the sheriff, and he can't make it either. And he just, Dukes of Hazzard jumps it into the same ravine I do, and he punts me. Bang.
Roscoe P. Coltrane.
Sends me, and I catch first gear, and I'm gone. And he's stuck. And I'm like, kick ass. This is fucking great. So I'm like, yeah. Well, so I take off, and I'm in the wrong lane, now going westbound in an eastbound lane, right? And I'm like, just wooding this, giving this little fucking Wolfsburg edition shock with everything the fucker has. And I'm just going through the gears, and it's starting to run out of gas. I'm like, oh, fuck. So I end up, chicaning through the central median. And I'm going the right way, westbound. And I'm like, there's no one around. I'm not seeing any lights. I'm good, but I'm running out of gas. Well, I get to the next half-mile intersect, and all of a sudden, like there are 3 squads, and they converge on me and shut me down. Pull me out of the car, put me on the ground, wet, long hair, tie-dye, the whole thing you can imagine. It's exceptional, So anyway, I go to jail. My father is an attorney, and, he's gone for the weekend. So I get to spend the weekend in a Milwaukee County, jail.
Nice.
It's
Is Kevin Spacey in there?
it's the rite of passage.
Not yet.
Right?
Not yet.
The car's okay. So fast forward to getting the car out of impound. It's a great story. So my buddies who owns the car, his mother gives him $130 to get the car out of impound. That's the price. My dad, it's like, I'm going to loan you $130 to get the car out of impound. We show up to impound. So we both have, go to the same high school, and the whole high school, we're off, right? Like, we're excused. So one of us pays the 130. We split the other 100, the other 130, and we still have the 2 cases of beer in the trunk. So we jump in the car, and there's grass in the hoops, the whole thing, like from where I've launched it. But the car runs great. It's just low on gas. We go to the gas station, we fill it up, and we drive to the local park, and we end up drinking all the beer all afternoon. And
You showed them.
yeah,
Show
we're like
those fuckers.
kick ass. I mean, Scirocco was hands down dialed. Like, it was great. Car was fucking epic. So,
That's good.
When I got the 024, I was 18. I didn't leave, so, it wasn't fair to ask, let you guys know exactly. So I didn't get a license for a long time. And part of the story that I didn't tell you is that I worked in the bicycle industry for 20 years, and there's a reason.
That's your transportation.
Yeah, the transportation for me. I started out working, for Richard Schwinn at Paramount, the Schwinn Bicycle Company, and all these other things as a result of, I had to get around on a bicycle.
Result of a few bad decisions. Right?
Exactly.
Think if somebody would have just put another gallon or 2 of gas in that thing before, it would have been a different
I was
story.
clear. I was free, clear. Yeah,
That's my new fear.
Absolutely.
I'm going to get in a police chase and I'm going to run out of gas.
Well, you'll be screwed.
I know.
Because you only drive on E.
My goal is to entertain you guys. Was that all right?
That was
all right, cool.
That was
I'm
fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
Fantastic.
That's what I want to do.
I'm
because that's
surprised
the real
that
deal.
given the age and the situation that nobody was like, dude, the beer.
They never. They took me out of the car. They took me out of the car and put me on the ground. They never checked the car.
Well, I'd have thought somebody would have thought to let's make this thing. I think it could run on beer.
Oh.
You know?
He was on a solo
I
run.
love that
He was on a
idea.
solo run.
No. Yeah.
All right, you got one
No
down.
interaction stories, positive or negative.
He couldn't go fast enough.
Got nothing on that one. I seriously got nothing. I had plenty of stuff, but really, we got away. Sorry.
Beetle had more ground clearance.
Not that one. Yeah, no, not that one, right?
Right.
Bombing through the field. No, I honestly, that one tops it. I've got nothing
Yeah.
that
I don't
compares.
ever know if you ever heard that story.
No,
That's a good one.
I did.
It's good.
I honestly thought you're full of shit, but it's okay.
No, it's real deal.
No, yeah. Back in that era, area as well. Yeah, that's makes sense.
But what's
certain things you can't share with the guys at Speedcore. I mean, to be honest, let's say
so you're
whatever roads your
so a
podcast.
podcast?
I mean, you guys fine.
safe with us.
Yeah, exactly.
Won't leave these walls.
Nobody will ever know.
Right. Yeah.
So what's next for Speedcore? What's coming up? What should everybody be keeping an eye out for?
Fuck.
Yeah.
Some cool stuff for sure. We're probably not at liberty to talk too much about it, but definitely like
Elephant powered carbon fiber.
bigger than that.
Yeah. You know,
Elephant for sure, but bigger.
Yeah, speaking to our relationship with TSR,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
capitalizing on that
Chad's
is a big part.
Ozier's, he's pushing the envelope, and we're excited about it. And like they just do some kick-ass shit
Cool.
at DSR, so we're like, you know what, we can harness that. So we're excited about it.
Have fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I tell everybody to check you out on Instagram, but like I said before, you probably already are following them. So, but if you're not, Speedcore 01, Tom, Lyle, thanks again for coming.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely
Yeah,
awesome.
Thanks for making the
having
trip.
us.
Kick
Yeah,
ass.
Come
This
and
is
visit
great.
us anytime
Absolutely.
you want. I mean,
Yeah.
God, you guys
Yeah.
are great.
Good space.
We use your
Good
product.
fun.
We use,
appreciate
any e-body stuff we're doing. We're doing a CUDA right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're using your frame. You
Right
bet,
on.
we've got another one in the queue. And if I would have brought a PO today, it would have probably been the first time ever on a podcast that someone delivered a PO.
on a podcast.
And I'm like, fuck, we need to do that.
Just write it
And I was
Phil's, could you sign here?
No, man. I mean, your product kicks ass.
Thank you, man.
And-
Appreciate it.
and,
You guys do a great
we-
job for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's great to come down and see your business and see what you have going on.
Yeah.
We appreciate it, fellas. We'll
Likewise.
wrap this up and we'll show you guys around
Absolutely.
before you hit
For
the
sure.
road.
Thanks
Yeah.
again for listening to Oil and Whiskey with the Roadshow Shop, an Ironclad original. If you like the show, be sure to leave us a rating and review. And the last time we called out for reviews, we've gotten some kick-ass. We got 20 fucking reviews.
Where?
One where the reviews go. I'll show them to you. Somebody wrote a song, like rewrote a Florida Georgia Line song as a review about oil and whiskey. It's pretty fucking good. So you guys keep it up. See you again next week.